6 biggest favorites on the board, 2 of which I will not consider. But Steelers are minus 5.5 at Cincinnati. I would not consider that this week, if for no other reason. They have a home game against Cincinnati week 11.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So they're out. They also have games at Chicago and home versus Miami. So
and I've used them already, so
there you go.
No thought there, yeah.
The other team of the bigger favorites, of the 6 bigger favorites that I would not consider playing beyond the Steelers, is the Green Bay Packers, who once again have a Thanksgiving game at Detroit. Not saying you're saving them for that, but just note that. But as always, when we bring up the Packers, they have so many other opportunities to be used. Week 9, they host the Panthers. Week 11, they're at the Giants. Week 12, they host the Vikings. Week 14, they host the Bears. But just to take that Week 9 game hosting the Panthers, would you rather play that or at Arizona this week?
Yeah.
So it's not a play.
I'm considering them, Gill.
Oh,
I'm considering
He's
them.
considering them.
Don't get me wrong.
Ooh.
I do think there are, that specifically, the Panthers game is a better spot down the road. I'm more okay playing them this week, though, having seen all the people that used them a week ago.
Okay. Here is, of the 4 that I would consider, here's the one that really requires your strategy. Because it's a no play if you think of it one way. It's a play if you think of it another. The Chiefs play both on Thanksgiving and Christmas. If you're in Circus Survivor, those are 2 quirks. They're at Dallas on Thanksgiving. They're home versus the Broncos on Christmas. So you may want to save them for one of those 2 weeks. By the way, there is a Week 16 game at Tennessee as well. So for me, I'd consider it if you have the Thanksgiving and Christmas lined up as, I'm playing Philly on Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving really, but part of the Thanksgiving quirk when they host the Bears, and I'm playing Washington on Christmas when they host the Cowboys. Let's say you have that in stone. Not that we have anything in Survivor in stone, but with Thanksgiving and Christmas, maybe you have to have it that way. If you are considering that in stone, then Kansas City becomes available to you, and it becomes a question of, do you use them this week, or do you wait for that game against, was it Tennessee, guys? We could put the graphic back up?
Yeah.
So that becomes your choice. If you are still considering for Thanksgiving or Christmas, then it's a no play. I think versus Vegas this week. But they are 11.5 point favorites versus Vegas. So if you are going Philly, Washington, Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe you like this better than at Tennessee down the road in December.
Yeah, a good breakdown. I think for me personally, I think it's too early to kind of put in pen what you're going to do with Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I'd rather leave a team available that's playing in both.
Okay, so you will not play the Chiefs.
I don't think so.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I think they're the fulcrum team this week because of strategy. Now, here's the 3 that I absolutely would consider this week. The Chicago Bears. 5.5 point favorites versus New Orleans this week. Yes, they play on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, part of the Thanksgiving quirk, but it's at Philly. Doubt you're playing it there. You do have 2 other opportunities probably to use them. Week 10 home versus the Giants. Week 15 in December versus the Browns.
Yeah.
I think you have to consider the Bears.
I'm not going to completely rule them out, but it's some of the other future opportunities I was actually even surprised you have, but you do have.
You do have. Patriots, 7 point favorites at Tennessee. You do have a Week 8 possibility home versus Cleveland. Week 11 home versus the Jets. Week 13 home versus the Giants. There are other chances to use them. But you do have to consider them. Despite being on the road, they are at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Unless you think Brian Callahan's removal somehow gives the Titans some kind of bump.
This will be a pass for me, Gill.
Pass. Okay. Because you do have other opportunities.
Other opportunities, and I kind of like the Bears. I'd like to see a little bit more of this first. I'm not still completely sold on this team.
Fair enough. One more. Broncos, 7 point favorites hosting the Giants. I think you have to consider them.
Yeah.
They are at Kansas City Christmas. Probably not saving them for that. And you do have them Week 8 versus Dallas, home game versus Dallas, and Week 10 home game versus the Raiders. So there are 2 other opportunities to use them, but I don't know. Are they any better than a home game against the Giants?
No, I would say this is the one I've had written in for weeks.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as good as it did a couple weeks ago, Gil. Giants looking a little better, Broncos meh, but they are definitely a major consideration.
So Packers and Broncos for you.
These 2, big time. It is probably the Broncos right now.
Okay. There you go.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at 0 cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.